In late September 2025, Spain faced one of the most widespread and destructive extreme weather episodes in a decade. 4 consecutive days of heavy rain caused extensive flooding in 3 major regions: Valencia on the east coast, Zaragoza in the north-central region, and the island of Ibiza in the Balearic Islands. Although the geography of these 3 regions differed, they experienced similar impacts: extensive inundation, infrastructure damage, disruption of community activities, and profound social trauma. In Valencia, the rain began falling on the morning of September 27th and continued until the evening of September 30th. Rainfall reached more than 300 liters per square meter, causing the Turia River to overflow its banks and flood the historic district and business district. Main streets such as Avenida del Puerto, Gran via Marqués del Turia, and Paseo de la Alameda turned into impromptu rivers. Muddy water rushed through, submerging vehicles, damaging shops, and entering homes. The city's aging drainage system was unable to cope with the extraordinary volume of water, worsening flooding in densely populated areas like Ruzafa, Benimaclet, and Campanar. The Valencian government immediately declared a state of local emergency. All schools, universities, and public facilities were closed for 2 days. Public transportation was completely paralyzed, with metro and bus lines suspended due to flooding. Hospitals such as Hospital La Fe and Hospital Clínico Universitario experienced a surge in patients suffering from minor injuries, hypothermia, and panic attacks. Rescue teams worked around the clock to evacuate elderly residents and children from buildings threatened with collapse. In the El Carmen district, several old, long-neglected buildings partially collapsed, forcing emergency evacuations. Meanwhile, in Zaragoza, the floodwaters came from a different direction. Heavy rains in the Pyrenees caused the Ebro River to overflow its banks and rush towards the city center. The Actor, Delicias, and San Jose neighborhoods experienced knee-to-waist-deep flooding. The Zaragoza Delicias train station was briefly closed as water entered the waiting area and the rail tracks. Several long-distance trains were canceled, stranding thousands of passengers. The Aragonese regional government deployed more than 500 military personnel to assist with evacuations, food distribution, and debris removal. Hospitals such as Miguel Servet and Quiron Salud experienced temporary power outages, forcing patients to be transferred to other facilities. In Ibiza, the flooding came as a surprise to many tourists still enjoying the end of the summer season. Unusually heavy rain for the island caused flooding in tourist areas such as Sant Antoni, Santa Eulalia, and Ibiza town. Ibiza airport was closed for 6 hours due to flooding of the runway. Hotels along the coast suffered damage to their electrical and sanitation systems. Foreign tourists, including those from the UK, Germany, and the Netherlands, were evacuated to emergency shelters provided by the Balearic regional government. Although there were no casualties in Ibiza, losses to the tourism sector are estimated to be in the millions of euros. Many small business owners complained about the government's slow response and the lack of direct assistance. Overall, the floods in these 3 regions directly affected more than 20,000 people, with over 3,000 homes severely damaged and another 12,000 moderately damaged. The Spanish central government announced an emergency aid package of 150 million euros for infrastructure restoration, social assistance, and drainage system repairs. The Spanish Prime Minister stated that the floods were a harsh reminder that climate change is not a future threat, but a reality today. This statement reinforced the urgency of accelerating climate adaptation and strengthening disaster mitigation systems. From a meteorological perspective, experts say this phenomenon was triggered by a combination of high sea surface temperatures in the Mediterranean and a stagnant low-pressure system over the Iberian Peninsula. This created a saturated atmosphere that produced extreme rainfall in a short period of time. Scientists from the Agencia Estatal de Meteorologia, AEMET, stated that this event is part of a trend of increasing frequency of extreme rainfall in the Mediterranean region due to global warming. They also noted that irregular rainfall patterns and increased intensity are becoming new characteristics of the Spanish climate. In Spain, particularly in northwestern regions like Galicia, AEMET, the National Meteorological Agency, issued weather warnings as Gabrielle's remnants are expected to bring heavy rain, strong winds, and a drastic drop in temperatures. In France, meteorologists predict that the system will impact the weather this weekend by bringing warm, humid air, ending the cold spell that dominated early autumn. In the Balearic Islands, including Mallorca, Gabrielle's remnants brought heavy rain and hail, causing localized flooding and traffic disruptions. Highways like the Inca Motorway were temporarily impassable, and drivers were forced to take shelter under bridges due to poor visibility and standing water. Systemically, Gabrielle is emblematic of the changing nature of tropical storms in the era of global warming. Its rapid increase in intensity, long, circular path, and ability to maintain strength while crossing high latitudes indicate that Atlantic hurricanes are now increasingly difficult to predict. Scientists note that high sea surface temperatures and a water vapor-saturated atmosphere are key factors in the strengthening of storms like Gabrielle. Although Gabrielle caused no casualties, its presence reinforces the urgency of expanding transcontinental monitoring systems and strengthening coordination between Atlantic and European meteorological agencies. It also serves as a reminder that tropical storms pose a threat not only to the Caribbean and the Americas, but now also to Western Europe and the Mediterranean. The long-term impacts of this flooding are expected to impact the city's economic, social, and spatial aspects. In Valencia, plans to revitalize the Turia River will be accelerated to strengthen dikes, expand green zones for water absorption, and build a new, more adaptive drainage system. In Zaragoza, the local government is considering relocating public facilities away from flood-prone areas and strengthening river monitoring systems. In Ibiza, the tourism sector will conduct a climate risk audit to ensure preparedness for future extreme weather events. Several major hotels have announced plans to build independent drainage systems and upgrade their structures to withstand flooding. Socially, the floods have left a profound impact. Many families have lost homes, possessions, and irreplaceable memories. In Valencia, resident Maria Gonzalez said her family home, which had stood for 3 generations, was now reduced to rubble. We knew the river could overflow, but we never expected to lose everything overnight, she said, her voice trembling. Maria's story reflects the dilemma facing many coastal and urban families between preserving their heritage and facing the realities of climate change. In Zaragoza, teacher Javier Munoz described how his school was submerged in chest-deep water. Books, computers, and laboratory equipment were completely destroyed. We just received renovation funds, and now everything is gone. Our children have lost their classrooms, she said. In Ibiza, restaurateur Lucia Ferrer complained about the slow pace of government assistance. We lost food supplies, kitchen equipment, and customers, but no one came to help. We were just given a form and told to wait, she said, her frustration evident. In retrospect, the floods of late September 2025 in Spain were not just a natural disaster, but also a reflection of the challenges of our time. They demonstrated how rapid urbanization, inadequate drainage systems, and climate change can interact to create complex vulnerabilities. However, the floods also present an opportunity for change, to build more resilient cities, more conscious communities, and more sustainable policies. Spain is now at a critical juncture. The choice is to persist with the old, fragile system, or move forward with a new vision that combines science, empathy, and resilience. These floods have provided a warning. It is up to us to listen and act.
¡Échale huevos! ¡Échale huevos! No, el pivote. ¡Al agua, no! ¡Aquí está el mar! ¡Para! ¡Para!